Azaria Chamberlain is a beautiful teenage girl and the sister of Azaria. Zara is the Chamberlain daughter you've most likely never heard of, with an insight you will want to hear. Recently, with her dad, she went to the rock, to the spot where her sister was taken. It's an emotionally charged moment she and you won't forget, nor will you forget the photos from the family album that have never been seen. Here's Ross Coulthart.
Hi, I'm Azaria Chamberlain and I'm on a trip with Channel 7. We've all gone to Uluru with my dad. This was the place, the last place where Azaria was before she was taken, and the place that really shaped the rest of my dad's life. I think that today Dad's gonna find it very emotional going back to this place, and I'm glad that I'm here to support him because I don't think he'd feel very well being alone on this one.
I think the tent site must have been very close to over here. Remember, the sand was red. I think it's here. We're here.
This is the first time in 32 years.
Yeah. It's just a bit overwhelming. I think I'll do this. Thank you for coming. It was about this time when the sun came up, you could start seeing a lot more clearly the campsite. Everybody very expectant, really all looking forward to the day.
What was Azaria like?
Well, she was a very active and really very strong little child. Well, she's only about 6 pounds 7 ounces in old terms when she was born. But I remember Lindy being so very proud and quite amazed at her strength. But, you know, it was almost as if she was a little sturt pea out here. She was so beautiful. This was a very special little child. Because she was our first daughter.
Yeah.
We'd prayed for her and got her. It's beautiful.
The photographs of you and Lindy through the very early days of your marriage, you're a very happy, clearly very loving couple.
Most certainly, and it was going to be a great life for us. Lindy is a fun-loving person who loves mischief, and this is part of her personality, and that's part of the reason why I liked her so much.
She's a strong woman.
She's a strong woman, she's confident, she's competitive, and she'll take people on. And she won't take rubbish from anybody.
This shot places your tent
Yep,
and the Tirana
that's right.
in what used to be the campground
That's correct.
at Uluru.
Yes,
And the position where you're standing to
Yes.
take this photograph
yes,
is very likely where the dingo actually came from.
virtually, I'd say.
So talk me through what happened, where Azaria was and all of that.
Yeah, well, this is always the tough one because I start to relive this. I guess it was around about 8 o'clock, and I was chatting to Greg and Sally Lowe.
They're people from Tasmania.
People from Tasmania, and we're having a bit of fun. And Lindy had just come back from the tent. She'd put Azaria down, and there was just a lull in the conversation. And I said to Lindy something like this. I said, "Is that Azaria?" And she said, "Oh, I didn't hear anything." I said, you better go and check.
Now, was the tent zipped up?
No.
Why not?
Well, it's a moot point. Lindy left the tent last. I think that she didn't see the need to zip it up. I believe the tent could be zipped up. It was zippable. And we had a discussion about this later. Why didn't you zip up the tent? And that was a pretty tough question for her to answer.
I think she suggested that the tent was damaged, that the zipper was damaged, and it wasn't possible to zip
I
up.
believe it was damaged later.
Talk me through what happened next.
She must have got about half, 3/4 of the way, and she saw a dingo coming out of the tent. And then she called out, words to the effect, "Get out." And then she opened the tent, looked in, and then she said words to the effect, "My God, that dog's got my baby," or "that dingo's got my baby." And those words, of course, have become household words. Well, all hell broke loose. Everybody around the campsite that I was with, they just up and raced towards the tent.
There was a witness who said you didn't search, that you didn't join in the human chain search. And she said that you said that a dingo has taken our baby and she is probably dead by now. Whatever happens, it is God's will.
I didn't say that.
Another claim, and it was quite a hurtful claim,
As they are.
is that Pastor Michael, quote, was a very strange guy, seriously strange. He commended God's decision to take his daughter.
Rubbish.
Not true?
Utterly untrue.
Hello.
Barbara, hello. It's wonderful to meet you. I owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to you, and I've never been able to tell you.
I knew that they were Aboriginal trackers, but I didn't realise what they had to say.
Oh, I saw the tracks of the dingo at the tent with the baby.
Oh.
She saw the tracks and she believed that it was a dingo that was carrying a baby.
That's right.
She's never spoken before outside of the court about what she saw that night.
Hearing that she saw tracks, dingo tracks, and confirms that it was carrying a baby, not just anything, it was definitely carrying a baby. It really did just amaze me again that that was said publicly and then ridiculed and ignored.
He said that both Lindy and Michael Chamberlain had lied constantly and persistently.
The virulent campaign of gossip and rumour.
There was no evidence that a dingo had been involved. It therefore followed that the child had been killed.
I want to roll back to the moment that the jury came into the court. How were you feeling?
Our defence had said that you can bank on the evidence we have given. You'll be going home very soon. So we were totally unprepared.
And as the foreman read out the verdict, what happened?
I guess it was another oh my God moment. They've really stuffed it now, and we're paying totally for other people's prejudice and mistakes.
See, I just don't believe that's what went through your head then, Michael, and I think part of the problem with you is your reserve. If I had been falsely accused of killing my child, and a juror foreman stood up and said, "You're guilty, and your wife is guilty of murder," I don't think I'd sit there and clinically assess the merits of a miscarriage of justice.
You're asking me a question.
I'd be bloody angry.
30 years later.
Were you angry? Come on, give me the real Michael Chamberlain. What did you feel?
Denial. That can't be happening.
What was the sentence she was given? It was 30 years or something. That's horrific.
Life with hard labour. And life meant life.
Why was your father and Lindy singled out and accused of doing this dreadful thing when we all know now it was completely untrue?
I think that it was very unlucky that they were singled out, but I think it all goes back to the Northern Territory, and the government was very worried about it ruining the tourism, and And if it got out that a dingo was going around eating children, that there'd be...
It would damage tourism.
There'd be a lot of consequences with tourism.
Do you think that the police that were there on the night initially accepted your story?
Yes.
So why did they change their minds?
I think they were contacted and I think they were spoken to.
Because it was politically unpalatable for the tourism industry?
It was an inconvenient truth, to coin a phrase, yeah.
Oh, what do you think it was?
I think they had an agenda, quite frankly. And I think that certain things were said to them, this is the way you've got to run this, and don't come back until you've got some good evidence, regardless of its authenticity. The actual jail time was damaging. She became institutionalised. She became quite a different person.
What changed?
Well, she became more assertive and she started to run her own ship rather than us trying to work it together. And institutionalisation is a terrible thing on a human being, and she was there more than 18 months.
You could have walked away. You could have just got on with the rest of your life, dealt with the immense task of looking after your children. Why didn't you?
I loved my wife. I knew we were innocent. I knew we were right in what we said, and I'm no coward.
Azaria is the sister you never knew.
That's right. She doesn't almost seem like she was my sister because I've only seen photos and know what I've been told. But I do have emotional connections now through what Dad feels.
Has it been hard for you personally?
Yes, I have been teased in the past, but not
How
so
did you deal
much
with
now.
it?
You just don't let it get to you.
There was also this dreadful thing that happened with your rabbits at one stage.
Yes, someone, after leaving a horrible note at our doorstep a few weeks prior, someone came in while we were on holidays just before Christmas and slaughtered all my rabbits, either with a boot or a brick, and tore apart their rabbit pen.
And they were your pets?
They were. There was 9 of them, and they were all killed.
And what did the note say? Do you mind me asking?
The note was very nasty towards my dad, and it stated how he was being a disgrace to the church, and it used some very coarse language, and it was signed by the Magic Dingo Claw.
So it was a direct reference to the whole Azaria story?
Yes, it was. I'm very interested in seeing what this inquest brings to my dad. It's been pretty tough to deal with over the years leading up to this. It's been getting much worse and he's been fraying at the edges.
I feel confident, but I'm still pretty nervous about this.
What if it doesn't go the way you expect?
There is no plan B for this.
It really has to be a finding.
It must, because it's right. It'll be the truth. And I just can't see how possibly another inquest can get it wrong.
The name of the deceased was Azaria Lauren Chamberlain, born in Mount Isa, Queensland, on the 11th of June, 1980. This inquest has been reopened to receive information not available to previous inquests. My task is to consider and determine whether the whole of the evidence is sufficient to determine a cause of death. The formal findings as required by the Act that I make are: Azaria Chamberlain died at Uluru, then known as Ayers Rock, on the 17th of August 1980. The cause of her death was as the result of being attacked and taken by a dingo.
This battle to get to the legal truth about what caused Azaria's death has taken too long. However, I'm here to tell you that you can get justice even when you think that all is lost.
When we took you back to the campsite, I think for the first time Australians got to see just how much this awful tragedy hurt Michael Chamberlain. I think for just one moment, you let that reserve drop.
I don't need to stay here any longer.
There I was able to have, I guess, a moment of true grief after the shock of being falsely accused. And now starting to feel that people were realising that they had to get it right for us. I started feeling a lot more free now to accept.